Shalom. Welcome to our show, Hear, O Israel, a show that has been created and designed for you, the viewer, where you can receive an understanding of biblical truth, of the Word of Elohim in its entirety, without compromise, without interpretation, without tradition, and certainly without personal thoughts and feelings driven by any hidden agendas. My name is Aryeh Nasik of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel, and I will be your host today to discuss a very highly debated topic, even amongst the Christendom sect, Christians, if you will. And the discussion that we're going to have today is titled The Unknown Tongue. That's right, the unknown tongue. We're going to be talking about speaking in tongues today. We want to understand what is this mystery behind speaking in tongues, who speaks in tongues, and where does this ability, where does this gift, where does this talent come from? To open up, I'm going to give you our address and telephone number, which is 704-553-7625. We're located at 7631 Sharon Lakes Road, Suite E, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our forum is based upon comparatives. We compare what the nations teach in their religions, whether it be Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Orthodox Judaism, etc., to what the Word has to say. So our attempt and intent is not to ridicule or to slam any religious leader or any religious organization, but it is to place a topic out for the public so we can discuss whether or not the doctrine of that specific topic that is being taught in churches today is parallel or supported in the scriptures. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and start our discussion on the unknown tongue at 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And as it is our custom here for you all, for the benefit of the viewers, as we go through the scriptures, we're going to dissect words. We're going to analyze. We're going to look at places. We're going to look at time periods. We're going to look at people, motives, etc. All right. I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians, and let's pick it up at 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 1. What we want to understand is this. The tongues that are supposedly being spoken in church today, is it the same tongue that exists during the apostolic period? And note, I say apostolic period because the Messiah did not speak in tongues. John the Baptist did not speak in tongues. Moses did not speak in tongues. Zechariah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, none of these people spoke in tongues. So why do we have a surge of speaking in tongues in the book of Acts on through the last book of the Bible, okay, approximately? Well, let's just make sure that we understand this as we go through the scriptures, what tongue speaking is all about. All right, Paul writes to the church at Corinth in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1. He says, "Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, and rather that you may prophesy, prophesy. Now notice what he says, but rather that you may prophesy. Wasn't Isaiah a prophet? Ezekiel a prophet? The people in the Old Testament, were they not by and large prophets? Prophets communicate or say, "Thus saith the Most High. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith God." All right. Verse 2. "For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto Elohim." All right. We're going to be glorifying the Father by calling him by his holy name, which is Yah. We're going to be using the title El or Elohim because it is spiritually and more biblically correct to use because of its meaning rather than God, which is a Teutonic title that means superhuman. Okay, so at best, we're going to try to abstain from God and Lord and so forth, and we're going to try to restore it back to its original script. Okay, verse 2 again. For he that speaks in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto Elohim. Notice Paul says, he that speaks in an unknown tongue, a tongue that you're not familiar with, a tongue that you are not familiar with, a tongue that you are not familiar with. For he that speaks in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto Elohim. For no man understandeth him, howbeit in the spirit he speaks mystery. I need me to be a lashanut. Did you understand that? Did you understand what I just said? I'll tell you at the end of the show. Because if you didn't understand it, that was an unknown tongue. But it was a language that someone in this studio understood. Verse 3. Pay attention to verse 2 because we're going to bounce back to verse 2 in just a moment. Verse 3. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. He that speaks in an unknown tongue edifies himself. But he that prophesieth edifieth the church. I would that you all spoke with tongues, but rather that you prophesied. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaks with tongues, except he interpret, that the church may receive edifying. Now let's go back to verse 2. Pay very close attention, all right? Call your mama, call your daddy, call your pastor, right? Your deacons, your friends, your uncles, baby, and anybody else you want to call, because we have a very, very interesting discussion this evening. One that is radically different from what you have been taught for the past, let's say for the past 100 years, okay? I'm going to get into that secular history in just a moment, okay? But for the past 100 years, you have been exposed to something totally different. Verse 6. Now, brethren, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, except I shall speak to you either by revelation, that's vision, or by knowledge, or by prophesying, or by doctrine. All right. Verse 2. For he that speaks in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto Elohim. This is where Christendom says, okay, I speak in an unknown tongue, and, I'm speaking to God. What do you have to say to the Most High? What do you have to say to the Most High that you can't think? And please don't tell me, well, it's an unknown tongue that Satan doesn't understand, and the angels understand all language.